What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm James Salvatore, and today I have an interesting comparison for you all. Today I'm going to be talking about the differences between all the trim levels of the Maserati Levante for the 2020 model year. But before we get into the video, if you're new, be sure to smash that like button because it really helps us small creators out with the YouTube algorithm. And be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to be alerted when I post my future content. On the channel, I typically do new car reviews, new car comparisons, classic cars, exotics. So if that sounds like your thing, be sure to stick around. And with that said, I'm going to leave you with some beauty shots. Back a few years ago when Maserati first entered the mid-size SUV segment of the market, they made a bold statement with the Levante. I mean, just take a look at this thing. Just take a second and stand back and look at the proportions and the design and the body lines on this SUV. It's striking, it's beautiful, and it's bold and it's unique. It looks like nothing else on the road. You see one of these and it's distinctly Maserati, which I really like. I think they did a good job with it. For today's video, we have 3 out of the 4 variants of the Levante. We have, to my right, the base car. On my left over there, we have the Levante S, which is the next step up. And here in dead center is the Levante GTS, which is right before the Trofeo. Now, we don't have the Trofeo here today, unfortunately. However, I don't view that as being too big of a deal for comparison purposes because all you get with the Trofeo is a bump in performance. It's about 40 horsepower up and they give you a few other bits, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And when it comes to performance, with the base Levante, you get a twin turbocharged 3-liter V6 producing 345 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque, making for a 0 to 60 of 5.8 seconds. The Levante S takes it up a notch, delivering 424 horsepower and 448 foot-pounds of torque out of a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 as well, with a 0 to 60 of 5 seconds. The GTS in the center here is where you're going to see the largest performance jump, as you get a twin turbocharged 3.8-liter V8 producing 550 horsepower and 538 foot-pounds of torque, going 0 to 60 in just 4 seconds. And with the Trofeo that we don't have here today, you get the same 3.8-liter twin turbocharged V8, this time reworked, producing 590 horsepower and 538 foot-pounds of torque. And across the entire Maserati model lineup, you get their active Skyhook air suspension system, as well as a ZF 8-speed transmission and active exhaust. Speaking of active exhaust, let's take a listen to that. As you can see, when it comes to sound, these cars certainly don't disappoint. Let's move on to talking about some of the interior tech features of this car. Right away, I'm pretty impressed with this interior. I think, you know, their choice of materials and the overall layout of it is good. You know, I like the color choices they picked. It feels sporty, it feels unique, as well as luxurious at the same time. And I like the choice of leather that they used. It's nice and soft and supple. It's exactly what you'd expect for a car at this price point. And I like that they didn't cheap out, because if you look at the lower thirds of the door cards and the lower thirds of the center console, they are wrapped in leather. And that's an area where a lot of luxury car manufacturers kind of skip out on, hoping you won't notice, but somebody like me really notices and appreciates those things. Even the small things like the paddle shifters over here, they're actual aluminum. They're not just plastic painted to look like aluminum, which, you know, those are things that all add up, especially in a car at this price point. You expect these things to be made out of high quality materials, and I'm just happy Maserati paid attention to these things. In this car, you'll find Maserati's latest Touch Control Plus system. It utilizes an 8.4-inch multi-touchscreen display, as well as a rotary wheel, which some people prefer. You know, you'll see that a lot in German cars and whatnot. It's interesting that, you know, they decided to include this too, but most likely you'll probably just use the touch screen in this car. And the nice thing about this system is it also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, which definitely helps out, and it will keep this system useful as the years go on, because let's be realistic, any system that's over 5 years old without Apple CarPlay at this point, you don't really want to use it. It's annoying to use, but this will keep these systems from aging out too quick. When it comes to the driver's information center, you have an analog speedometer and tachometer paired with a digital driver's information system in the middle, which is nice. It's clear to read, it's colorful, it looks high resolution. Overall, pretty nice. It displays the vehicle information, you know, like say, and you can view multiple functions of the car, say the vehicle information, you see what drive mode you're in, see what the suspension is doing, how your all-wheel drive is being split. It'll show you driver's assistance features, fuel economy, and just a few other features overall. Just a nice system. Although going into the future, I definitely think Maserati should be putting an all digital gauge cluster in this car. It would definitely complete the look, in my opinion. But this isn't bad. It gives you all the functionality you need, and it's very easy to read. So not a bad thing, just a thought. Now that we've talked about that though, let's talk about overall practicality in the Levante. All right, stepping into the rear here, right away, I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the rear legroom in this car. I think Maserati has done a good job at keeping into consideration fitting full-size passengers in the rear here. I've set up the front seat to my optimal driving position. I'm about 6'1", so you could see that I have pretty ample legroom here in the rear. And when it comes to headroom, even though it doesn't look like I have a lot because of this pillar right here, I assure you I have plenty. I would say maybe you could fit somebody 6'2", 6'3", and on would probably be a little bit tight. However, I see this being more of a car for 4 people than 5 full-size adults, but if you had to squeeze it, I think you could. And getting back here, you have 20.5 cubic feet of cargo storage, which is okay. You could fit a few things in here, but what I like is you have a privacy shade here that's automatic, and you could take it out if need be. There's 2 cables right here. You just pop them right off, and you're done. And then you can fold down the seats if you need additional cargo storage. Well, that's all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to smash that like button. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm a lot. And be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss out on my future uploads. If you follow me already, thank you so much for the support. And I just want to let you all know that now things are returning a little bit more back to normal with COVID. I'm going to be going back to producing at least 2 uploads a week, so be sure to stay tuned in every Wednesday and Sunday for new content. But before we go, I'd like to say special thanks to my friends down at Valenti Maserati in Hartford, Connecticut for providing these cars for us today to do this comparison. They have a lot of rare and exciting models in their inventory, so be sure to check them out. I'm going to leave their contact information in the description below so you could do so. And with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.